So here's a hive that was 3 deep. And when we say 3 deep, it's full all the way through. It probably weighs 250, 280 pounds. Every frame is full of honey. And it obviously is loaded with bees. We smoked it, and we found the brood chamber was in between the 3 boxes. In other words, it was in the middle. We just rotated it and put it in the bottom. And we took what was in the bottom, which was all honey, and we put it up in the top. So at winter time, they'll eat what's next to them, and then they'll move up to the honey dome, which is warmed above them, and they can process it. And this last box will be their final. So this will be a 3 deep configuration going into winter, and this hive looks to be good. We didn't do a mite check on it. You could see it's just bursting with bees. It's healthy. They've got new comb, and we're working on the assumption that if they're bringing in new comb and pollen and all of that stuff, that they generally have a healthy population. And you can see the bees look really good, and we're just not going to disrupt them by putting mite away quick strips or something like that on it for the purpose of mite checking. So we're going to let this one ride through the winter and see what happens with it. Back over to hive number 1. You can see the bees are still sitting up on top of the frames, but they're slowly getting back inside. So if you just leave them be, they'll go back in the hive, and we'll be able to take this other box over here and put it on, and now all the rails are clean for us to be able to do that, so we shouldn't have as much difficulty with smashing bees. So just be patient. If you see them all over the top of the lid or on top of the frames, they will go back down inside the hive eventually. So Bob and I are here looking at these hives, and we're looking at this hive, right, Bob, which is absolutely full.
Look at it.
It's busting, and then there's another full box laying over there on the other side that goes on top of it. And then what do we find in here?
Yeah, so this one.
It's empty. It's not heavy at all.
It's a little, I would say it's medium, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see a couple of frames, but there are some empty frames in here too. 1, 2, this is full too. So you got a couple of empty frames. Let's pop one out.
But there was a medium super sitting on top of this, and it had nothing in it, right? And they hadn't built down any comb or whatever. So the question at hand is, would you try to equalize both of these? And by the way, it's October, so it's going into the first frost soon. And our discussion that we were just having before I turned on the camera here is no. Let that one, which is thriving, for whatever reason it's thriving, continue, and do not cannibalize it by trying to equalize these 2 hives. So we're going to assess this hive and take a look at what it's doing, and then we're going to figure out a way to get it through the winter if it's meant to be that way.
So an empty frame on the outside. Partially drawn, not totally. It looks like a lot of drone. There's some smaller ones. I think the next one is the same. The next one, actually, yeah, it's interesting.
It's probably wonky given the hole that was in the middle of the other one.
Actually.
It's one of those.
But that's all drone now, right? And they're starting to backfill it with nectar.
Yep.
Same thing on this side.
Okay, so foundationless there. I could see honey right away.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah, so that's definitely a honey frame all the way through.
Yeah.
I see some old brood in the middle.
They're backfilling.
And there's still larvae in there. You may or may not be able to see that, but... So the brood chamber is up in here. So interesting, we'll keep looking at this hive and see what we get. We'll come back to it in a little bit as we get a little bit further through it. So we've gone 3 frames in, or 4, I think we're 4 in, and we found this. Now what do you notice here? This is new covering. It's still got the yellow papery look to it. It is not brown. So this is brand new brood that has just been capped off, and what this is going to be is this is going to be our winter bees. So this is a good sign for this hive. It's kind of strange that we have all the emerged bees out and we don't have a ton of bees in the box, but we do know that we have a promissory note here for future bees. And the other thing we found next to it is this. This frame right here shows that there is a flow on and they're able to build new comb, as they're just literally building white wax here. So this hive is in full operation, still trying to get to a winter stance. Now what we got to look through is see if there's any brood down in the bottom. So we put this box aside and we put a lid on it. And now we're looking at what we have in the bottom box. And what do you see, Bob?
It looks to me like the first three are foundationless and they haven't been drawn out at all. But we'll find out.
Okay, so we got foundationless, not drawn out, and we know that the brood was in the box above it. So we're getting to fall, we want to put the brood in the bottom, so we'll look to see if there's any brood in here. And if not, we're going to put that other box on the bottom board.
Well, this one is drawn out. There's nothing in it.
10 frames all wedged in.
That's a foundationless.
Okay, foundationless, it's been being built out, but not currently.
Yeah, and you can look at the next one.
And
Same thing.
Foundationless on the outside again. It's interesting that foundationless against foundationless, they've behaved and not build wonky comb between them.
And they've started this last one too, although that looks like it has foundation on it.
That one's a foundation frame, but it's got plastic. You can see all these girls looking right here. It's kind of neat. Looking to see what's going on. That one looks heavy.
Not too bad. It's pretty empty.
You see a lot of nectar on this side, up in the top, and the other side is empty. So it's about a third full of its capability.
Don't see any brood so far.
Let's just slide this one over, huh?
Yeah.
Nothing there.
Oh, here's some brood.
Oh, there you go.
A little bit, not much.
Right up on the top edge. But the whole thing is full of pollen and nectar, so.
Yeah, so it's almost hatched out. There's nothing on the other side. Matter of fact, the other side's not even completely drawn out yet, because this has that plastic foundation.
Okay. Plastic evil foundation.
Look at it, ladies. Some more.
Yeah, there's brood there. So what do you want to do, Bob? You want to consolidate the brood here?
Yes, that's
All right.
what I would do.
And do you want to use, which box is going to win? Top box or bottom? You want to take this brood out and put it in the top? Put that one on the bottom board?
Yeah, let's see how, because this one is brood. That next one probably is not. So yeah, I think we.
So you have a small amount of brood here compared to what's up top, and the other stuff is new. So yeah, I'm in alignment there. Let's see if we can make that top box a winner and put the brood in the bottom.
Yeah, because that's it on the brood for this box.
Yeah.
So
okay.
You've got one, two, maybe a little on the third. Yeah, let's move those frames.
So what you're getting to see here, folks, is we're triaging this real time right in front of you. And we're going to stop and start setting. So in this box we found 5 frames of reasonable brood. And 3 or 4 more that had some brood on it. This one has pollen and honey. This one has pollen and honey on this side on the brood. So we line that up. This box has honey, 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 and honey, partially drawn out, partially drawn out, partially drawn out, partially drawn out, partially drawn out. So we put the honey in the middle and it'll sit over top of the brood here, and when it has to do, they'll come up into it. And this one over here, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe through the rest of this fall nectar flow they'll build these other frames out and get them situated, but if not, they have what they have to work with. So that's hive number 2. We're going to button it back up here. So here we went into hive number 3, and what we found is the bottom box, the white one, and the middle box, the brown one, had exactly the same pattern. They had full brood through the middle frames, pollen and nectar on the outside frames, and full built out honey throughout the outside frames, 10 wide, top and bottom. And subsequently, this top box is loaded with honey. This box left it just the way we were. All we did was swap out the screen bottom board for a solid bottom board, which is what we do here, and put it back together. It's in good shape to go into winter.